Okay, we were talking last time about Ben Hashmashos. So we learned more or less as follows: that the Gemara says on Shabbos on Lamed Daled Amud Beis, what the nature of Ben Hashmashos is a doubt. It might be all day, it might be all night, it might be Sufek Yom, Sufek Laila. And that last possibility either means that half of it or part of it is day and half of it is night, or it means there's an overlap in the aspects of both day and night in it. That's the sheet of the Ritva and Yuma. Now, how long was Ben Hashmashos last? We a whole bunch of shittas of Tanoim. We passed in at least as far as Dinim Doraisa, like Rabbi Yehuda, it lasts for the length of 3/4 of a meal. And how long is 3/4 of a meal? So a meal, there was a machlokas between the Rishonim. How long is it? According to the Machaber, based on Trumas Hadeshen, it's 18 minutes. So 3/4 of a meal would be 13 and a half minutes. And according to the Rambam, it's 24 minutes, or 3/4 of a meal is 18 minutes. And according to the Vilna Gaon, this is three-quarters of 22. Either. You have to go over that. Sunset to start coming out is 4 whole meals. How do you answer the stira? So there are two major approaches, maybe 3 approaches, but two major approaches how to answer the stira. The Rabbeinu Tam Shita is as follows. This is quoted in Tosfos, in Menachos and Chafam and Beis, and in other places. Rabbeinu Tam says there are 2 shkiyas, or more. Maybe you can say it's a long shkia with a beginning and an end. When the Kadur HaShemesh, when the ball of the sun goes below the horizon, that is what is called the beginning of shkia. Then, later on, when the indirect light in the sky, you don't see the sun anymore, the indirect light of the sky is mostly gone, and you only see it in the western horizon, but the rest of the sky is dark, that is what is called in the Gemara, Misha Tishka Chama, right? That is the second shkia, okay? So, Mishkia Chama is from the beginning, Misha Tishka Chama is from the end of it. Now, according to, from the first shkia to the Tzeis HaKochavim is 4 entire milim. It's 4 milim. 4 milim from the first shkia to the second shkia. Excuse me, from the first shkia to Tzeis is 4 whole milim. From the second shkia to Tzeis is 3/4 of a meal. So it comes out from sunset 1 to sunset 2, from the ball of the sun going down, direct light going to the indirect light going, is 3 1/4 meal, 3 1/4 meal, and from the second sunset until the star comes out is 3/4 of a meal, and from the therefore you have 3 1/4 and 3/4. You get a 4 from first sunset to the end is what is 4 meal. Okay, now the Gemara Pesachim says from the sunset to the stars come out, means Shkia 1, the stars come out is 4 meal. The other Gemara says the sun goes down from after 3 1/4. Three-quarters of Tzeis HaKochavim, according to this, is 72 minutes. That's the famous sheet of the Rabbeinu Tam, that after Shabbos you have to wait 72 minutes, right? That's the famous sheet of the Rabbeinu Tam. After Shabbos, you have to wait 72 minutes until Shabbos is over. Now, but there's an unbelievable kula from Rabbeinu Tam, Erev Shabbos. According to Rabbeinu Tam, for the first 3 1/4 meal, from sunset 1 to sunset 2, is day. Is day. Now, 3 1/4 meal is right, 18 and a half is 58 and a half. So according to Ben Tam, from the time we see the sun goes down until Ben Shmoshet starts is 58 and a half minutes, almost an hour. And that time is totally day, it's Friday. And then for 3/4 of a meal starts Ben Hashmashos, and then Kesaras come out. So according to Tam, Erev Shabbos, you can do Malacha for 58 and a half minutes after Shkia. Then it's Ben Hashmashos, and then the stars come out. And Motzai Shabbos, though, Shabbos is over 72 minutes after the sun goes down. That's what comes out according to the Rabbeinu Tam. I'm ignoring the mitzvah Tosefes Shabbos. Obviously, you're going to have to add a little bit on Shabbos. That's without that. There's a whole long attack on Rabbi. But his major kasha is not from Gemaras and Cheshbonos. His major kasha is 2 words: Hachush Machish. You just look out; it can't be. You go outside 58 minutes after the sun goes down. It's pitch black. It's pitch black. You're going to tell me it's still day? You can't say that. That's the Vilna Gaon's is as follows: that and is Tzesak Kochabi. The only Gemara you have to relate to here is the Gemara in Shabbos. You can ignore right now the Gemara in Pesach. Right now, I have to be honest. To be good, to follow the Vilna Gaon, the Shintaso, CEO's the meal is 22 and a half minutes, and therefore you plug in 3/4 of 22 and a half. So according to his meal, it'll be from the time the sun goes down until it's nighttime is 16 and 7/8 minutes. 17. You have a big chumrah. Once the sun goes down, it is sure a little less than 17 minutes after the sun goes down. Now, but then the Vilna Gaon says there are 2 variables that can change this. One is the latitude, how far you are away from the equator. The further you are from the equator, the longer Ben Hashmashos is. And when the Gemara says 3/4 of a meal, it means in Eretz Yisrael and Babel. But the more north you get, it takes longer time. Look, I have lived in Pennsylvania, New York, Montreal, and in Eretz Yisrael. I can tell you clearly that in Eretz Yisrael, it gets dark much more quickly than it does in New York and Pennsylvania. And I can tell you that in Montreal, until it gets dark, takes much longer than it takes in New York. So the further you are away from the equator, the longer it is. That's one thing. And then he says there's another variable. This thing of 3/4 of a meal was only said on the days of the equinox. In other words, in Nisan and Tishrei. Tkuvas Nisan and Tkuvas Tishrei. But in the summer, it can be longer, and in the winter, it can be shorter. Therefore, let's say you have to always factor in, besides the 3/4 of a meal, the 16 and 7/8 minutes, you have to factor in where you are. The further you are away from the equator, either to the north or to the south, you have to factor that in, and also the time of the year. Now, before I go on, I just want to point out as follows. What does the Vilna Gaon do with that Gemara in Pesachim, with the 4 meal? Like, what does he do with it? So the Vilna Gaon says as follows. After 3/4 of a meal, 3 stars come out. And then it's nighttime. He says the Gemara in Pesachim that it's 4 meal from when the sun goes down until the stars come out. It's 4 meal. That means till all the stars come out. Then you'll see all the stars. But what you need for nighttime is only 3 stars. You see that after 3/4 of a meal. And you might ask, and who cares? Who cares when all the stars come out? Who cares? So there are a number of possibilities. One thing could be that whole Gemara is only an agadic Gemara. It's not halacha l'mais. It could be that's one thing. Now there's another possibility. Erev Shabbos. There's a mitzvah add on to Shabbos. What's the earliest you can accept Shabbos? Anybody know? What's the earliest you can accept Shabbos?
Plag
Mincha, right? Can I accept from Plag an hour and a quarter before Shkia? After Shabbos, how long can you schlep Shabbos out? How long? So, I have to be honest. If you look at Rav Soloveitchik's Shiur of Pesachim, he says it's from the Tshuvas HaGaonim. You look at Rabbi Shachar's Never Sharav on page Kufayin Gibel Kufayin Dalit, it says it in the name of Rav Soloveitchik's father, that according to the Vilna Gaon, you can only schlep out Shabbos to 72 minutes after the sun goes down. That's it. In other words, like Erev Shabbos, up the plug you can accept. After Shabbos, you can schlep it out until what? Or add on to Shabbos until all the stars come out for a meal. 72 minutes or 4 times, whatever you think the meal is. Look, without this shita, let's say according to Rabbeinu Tam, I don't know how long you accept drag Shabbos out. So it says in Never Sharav that it means probably until Chatzos. Without they'd say until Chatzos. Now there might be other things that this Gemara Psachim, either at Zagadik, how long you accept the drag out Shabbos. It also might be relevant. There's a Gemara in Psachim Daf Beis that you're not supposed to travel at night. If you're traveling, you shouldn't leave. You should leave the city only when day starts, and when you make sure you get to the next stop before night. So before night might be when all the stars come out. Or you look at Never Sharav, there's another possibility that what I said just now is about when you travel is from the Shiur and Psachim. If you look in the Never Sharav, it might be relevant there in Psachim to figure out what is a derech choka that you can bring a carbon pesach. Might have relevance to that. Anyway, it's not no get to when night is. Okay, so basically we have 2 shitos over here. We have shita number 1 that of the Rabbeinu Tam, big kula erev Shabbos, big chumrah after Shabbos, and then you have the Vilna Gaon, big chumrah erev Shabbos, and big kula after Shabbos. Halach l'maisa, how do you pass? So the Mechaber, Shulchan Aruch passes Simon Reish Samach Aleph Sif Beis like Rabbeinu Tam. He passes like the Rabbeinu Tam. They look in the Mishnah Berurah there, Sifkan Chav Gimel, in the Ber Halacha there. He says you have to be machmer like the Gra for Shabbos and any Din Torah. You have to be machmer. Now, that's as far as Friday. What's the story about Motzei Shabbos? You have to be machmer like the Rabbeinu Tam. So the Mishnah Berurah, the Mashmos, I think, is Sifkan Chav Gimel in Reish Samach Aleph that you do not have to be machmer like Rabbeinu Tam. It's a nice thing, you don't have to. However, Moshe Feinstein writes in a tshuva, it's been Rabbi Eider's Hilchos Nida in the back in Tshuva Chavav, that he says you have to be machmer like Rabbeinu Tam. He says in Europe, they were machmer like Rabbeinu Tam. Now, it's not so clear to me. Moshe lived in Russia. It seems to me like in Lithuania, I don't think they were machmer. Now, whatever you do, if you want to be machmer after Shabbos, tavo alecha bracha. But b'shum panim v'ofen, you should not be maker like Rabbeinu Tam on Erev Shabbos. I think there's certain Hasidim who are maker on Erev Shabbos like the Rabbeinu Tam. I believe so. There's a story about the Satmarov, that originally, before he settled in Williamsburg, he was in Eretz Yisrael for a while. And he used to drive around after Shkia on Friday afternoon. And the local people warned him, you don't do that around here in Yerushalayim. And he tells him, watch out, they throw stones here. Anyway, I think Rav Soloveitchik was a machmer like the Rabbeinu Tam, but he was a machmer like the Rambam's meal. So he kept 4 times 24. He waited 96 minutes after Shabbos, and I think he also factored in the summer and other things. He used to wait 2 hours after Shabbos. I was told that when he was older, so he would let other people drive him home earlier, but he himself wouldn't do malacha for it. I guess he didn't want to make everybody he couldn't walk home and he didn't want other people to have to wait. Okay, now, when this halach question of when is day and when is night is relevant to a lot of halachas. So obviously it's relevant to when Shabbos, Yom Tov, Yom Kippur start and when they all end. But beyond that, let's now discuss a bris milah. A bris milah is on the 8th day. So let's assume that a baby is born Thursday morning. Good. So when's the bris? The 8th day, the next Thursday. Yafeh. Now, let's say a baby would be born this evening at during Ben Hashmashos, right? So you don't know if it's Thursday or Friday. So when do you do the bris? Anybody know?
Sunday?
No, you can do it on Friday. It's either Thursday or Friday. You do it on Friday. Now, why? Because you don't know what to do. But a bris b'di'evet on the ninth day is okay. On the seventh day is a problem, right? So it's better the ninth day than the eighth day. Therefore, you do it on Friday, even though it might be the ninth day. If you do it on Thursday, it might be the seventh day. Now, instead of being born on Ben Hashmashos on Thursday night, let's assume it's born on Ben Hashmashos on Friday, right? So you can't do it on Friday. It might be the seventh day. You can't do it on Shabbos because it might be the ninth day. And the only time Mila's Docha Shabbos is on the eighth day, not if it's the ninth day. So then you're right. You do it on. Oh, you're right. You do it on Sunday. And what if, this year, that the baby was born on Thursday night in Ben Hashmashos, and Friday was Shavuos, and then comes Shabbos. So then you do it from then to Sunday. And if it's born on Wednesday evening, Ben Hashmashos, and Thursday and Friday are Yom, like Pesach was on Chutz this year, then you also doch it to Sunday. Okay, that's simple. Now, let's assume it follows. Baby's born on Friday evening. No Yom. Friday evening. Baby's born 10 minutes after Shkia. Good. So according to the Vilna Gaon, when do you do the bris? You do it on Sunday, right? Because in Spanish, you can't do it on Friday, you can't do it on Shabbos, do it on Sunday. According to Rabbi time, you can do it on Friday. You can do it on Friday, right? Correct? You can do it on Friday. Good. You can have all kinds of shilas like this. And what do you do? Let's assume you are, let's assume the baby was born 50 minutes after Shkia on Friday. So, good, it's waiting in Jews. So make the bris on Shabbos. Like the Vilna Gaon, it's 50 minutes away after. According to Rabbeinu Tam, the bris is on Friday. And what if you are a nice, good Lithuanian Jew and want to make it on Shabbos, and the mole is a Hasidic Jew? Now what? Anyway, you should ask your competent local Orthodox rabbi what to do. Anyway, so it's okay to bris meal. Let's continue now. It's nogay in Hilchos Nida, Hilchos Taras HaMishpacha. Correct? A woman has to count in Zion the Kiyam. But for sure, it's down to Zion the Kiyam, which start in the evening, every day, evening and day. She has to ascertain that she doesn't see any blood anymore. No, she has to ascertain it before Ben Hashmashos. When is Ben Hashmashos? So it depends. If you hold like the Gra, it's when the sun goes down. You hold like Rabbi time, it's much later. Let's talk about something more pertinent right now. To when can you daven mincha? To when can you daven mincha? So, as follows. Let's go backwards. There's a machlokes in brachos and chaf ava midbeis, right? Who instituted the korbanos? Correct. According to one shita of Amoraim, Avos Tiknum. Aram was misakein Shachris, and Yitzchak was misakein Mincha, and Yaakov was misakein Arvis. And then there's another shita that they're connected the korbanos. The Shachris connected Tamid Shal Shachar, and Mincha is connected Tamid Shal Ben Harabayim, and Marav is connected that you used to burn the Pedorim, the fats, or the Imurim, or the limbs of the Ola at night, from those days, korbanos. Correct? Then the Gemara asks, okay, all the zmanim of tefillah, when zman tefillah is when you daven mincha, when you can't daven mincha, all correspond to the korbanos. See all this connected korbanos, and makes sense. The old avos tiktum, what are these zmanim? Why is it up to only 4 hours? Where do these zmanim come? So Gemara says there in Chaf Avim Beis and Brachos that even according to the man to Omer, that the avos were misakein tefillos, but later on the rabbis corresponded it to the times of the korbanos. Okay, make no mistake, it's not zecher lemigdash, right? It's nothing to do with that. They were corresponding to the times. They were the takanas of the Shachris Mincha and Mar was by Anshe Knesset Gadol, the beginning of the Bayis Sheni. They still had a Beis Hamikdash. times are correspond. It's not we like memorize. We commemorate the korbanos for this. Just as a side point here, you look in the Rambam. You know in Hilchos Tefillah, right? He doesn't say boo about the Avos. Doesn't say boo about it. He says that Ram Shita is a minat Torah, is a mitzvah to daven once a day, right? And then he says at the beginning of by Sheni, Ezra saw and they saw that what that people did not express themselves in proper Hebrew. They didn't speak Hebrew anymore, and therefore they were talking a standard text of davening, Shemona Esrei. Everybody be able to daven, and they were talking the different types of tefillah, Shacharis, Mincha, and Mar. Doesn't say boo about the others. You look at Hilchos Melachim, where he says Adam was nistav in these mitzvahs, and then Noach this, and then he writes Avram is nistav in Mila, and he daven Shacharis, and then Yitzchak daven Mincha, and Yaakov was nistav in Gira Nosh, and he daven Mar. So, but didn't say boo about the Hilchos Tefillah. So it comes out that it's clear Avram daven Shacharis, and Yitzchak daven Mincha, and Yaakov daven Mar b'korn everybody. The question was, did they make it a takana for people to do? According to one sheet, they made it a takana, and according to the other sheet, no, it was done later by Ezra. So the Rambam passed like the second opinion. Ezra did it. It just was patterned after what the Ovis had done. Okay, now, so Mincha corresponds to Talmud Shalbein Harabayim. Good, yo. Now you can. When can you bring the Talmud Shalbein Harabayim or daven Mincha? So in the Mishnah in Brachos, the morning Brachos in the fourth paragraph, as a machlokas, according to the Rabbanan until Shkia, and according to Rabbi Yehuda till Plag, right? And Ovid Kamar Ovid, Devavid Kamar Ovid, you can follow either one. And when after one's finished, then time of Marav starts. Fine. Now, Gemara says in Tzvachim, Anun Vav Amad Beit, Anun Vav Amad Al. When you bring a korban, you have to shacht it in the day and sprinkle the blood in the day, and then you can burn the rest of it at night. The Gemara says in Tzvachim, Anun Vav Amad Aleph, Dam Nifsal B'Shkia Sachama. Blood becomes posel at sunset, and you cannot sprinkle it on the mizbeach after sunset. And that Tosef Menachos, who quotes Rabbeinu Tam, says that from the Lashon HaGemara there, it is clear that you can't sprinkle the blood, even according to the Rabbeinu Tam, after sunset number 1. Even according to Rabbeinu Tam, day continues until sunset number 2. A korban, this blood has to be sprinkled before sunset number 1. That's what comes out. So the Talmidei Rabbeinu Yonah in the back of Brachos, in the beginning of the fourth parak says, Mincha corresponds to Talmud Shalbein Harabayim. Even according to Rabbeinu Tam, you can't daven Mincha after the sun goes down, after the first Shkia, like the Gra. That's what he writes. Because even if you follow Rabbeinu Tam, Mincha you can't daven after the first Shkia. Now, if you look in Shulchan Aruch and Hilchos Mincha, in Reish Lamed Gimel Sif Aleph, it's mashma the Shulchan Aruch and the Rama are both make to daven to the second Shkia. If you look in the Mishnah Berurah, there's a Katan Yud Dalet. He writes that there are a lot of poskim who argue and say no, you have to daven before the first Shkia. Certainly according to the Gra, but even according to Rabbeinu Tam, because of Rabbeinu Yonah, and therefore Mishnah Berurah says you should make sure to daven Mincha, all of Mincha before Shkia. And then he proceeds to say, if you have an option of davening Mincha before Shkia without a minyan, or davening after Mincha with a minyan, daven without a minyan. That's what he writes. Somebody once told me.
Says that?
Yeah. You hear?
Says that?
Somebody.
Yeah, who says that you can't leave without a better down pat a minion?
Who says what? The Mishnah Berurah says daven b'yechidus without a minyan. If there's a minyan, it's only after Shkia.
Okay.
Now, I just want to add as follows. Somebody once told me that Rabbi Yosef Engel writes in one of his Sfarim as follows. There's a Gemara in Brachos on Daf Zion that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gets angry for 1 second a day. Ki rega ba'apo chayim b'ritzono. That's the Gemara says in Brachos Daf Zion. And Bilam knew how to figure out when that 1 second is, and that's when he tried to curse Klal Yisrael. Ask Tosas there on the spot, a little Tosas. How much can you curse in 1 second? Tosas has 2 answers. One is, he said, Kalei, 2-syllable word, destroy them, Kalei. Other answer is, if he caught Hashem when he was angry and he started keeping going afterwards. Now, the idea is how to catch Hashem at the right second, and then you can go afterwards. So, somebody told me, Yosef Engel says that according to this answer of Tosfos, you can argue with the Mishnah Berurah and say, once you start Mincha before Shkia, you can go after Shkia. Okay, that's not what the Mishnah Berurah says. He says you have to finish it before Shkia. Okay, so it comes out according to the
Rabbi, are you allowed to follow that?
Just 1 second, I just want to give me 1 second, I'll listen to you. So according to Mechaber Ramo, you can daven up to Shkia number 2. Like, 58 minutes after Shkia, it's mashma, it's mashma. According to the Mishnah Berurah, only daven before Shkia and make sure you finish before Shkia. Right? Correct? And then we discussed whether you have to do the whole thing like the Mishnah Berurah says, but once you start, you can continue afterwards. Okay, I'm sorry, yeah? Naftali, somebody wanted something? Who was saying something?
Yeah. B'shasa dechak, would you be able to follow that Rabbi Yosef Engel?
1 second, okay, in 1 second, what to do? Okay? Now, just off the bat, Hasidim always daven late. So it could be that, they don't follow they follow Mechaber Ramo. That's fine. Okay. The Hasidim who daven 2 hours late, that's a separate issue. That's the other ones who Chaim Rivalozhin talks about the end of the second shar in Nefesh HaChaim, about all the right kavanas being known through the mitzvah correctly. Ayin Sham. Okay, now there's a Ber Halacha in Reish Lamed Gimel. Dibra Masko Dahaim. He quotes the Sefer Seder Hazman, and he says, okay, let's assume it's a little after Shkia, and you don't know exactly, can you still daven or can you not daven anymore? What are you supposed to do? So he says, brilliant idea. Daven Shmona Esrei. You say, if I can still daven Mincha, this is Mincha. Good. And if I can't daven Mincha, this Shmona Esrei is for Mar. Later on, you daven Mar. When you get up to Shmona Esrei, you say, if that was Mincha, then this is Mar. And if that was Mariv, means I never daven Mincha. I have to daven Tashlumin. This is for Tashlumin. This only helps if it's the same Shmona Esrei. It's not going to help Friday afternoon where it's not the same Shmona Esrei. But on a weekday, this can help. Okay. This is a bit of a controversial psak of Moshe. I said one of the nafkaminas about when the day ends, first shkia, second shkia, the gra, is for a woman who has to count 7 clean days. How long can she do it after sunset? So according to the gra, no. According to the Rabbeinu Tam, for the next 58 minutes. But Moshe has some cheshbon that in New York, he's some cheshbon about what he holds this. Says he has a whole total cheshbon there, whatever it is. He claims that in New York, he has a cheshbon that for the first 9 minutes after sunset, a woman can still make a hefsek tara. The first 9 minutes. He has some svek there. One topic he says is the Vilna Gaon right or the Rabbeinu Tam is right? And then he says, even if the Vilna Gaon is right, maybe Ben Ishmashus is really day. So he has some svek. How he gets 9 minutes, you have to look exactly. He gets to 9 minutes. Okay. Then the back Rabbi Yair, he has a tshuva. Somebody asked him, what was the svek? Right? Maybe the Gra made Rabbeinu Tam. And then, even if the Gra is right, maybe the Ben Ishmashus is day. Somebody asked him, if somebody's not machmer like Rabbeinu Tam after Shabbos, So he doesn't really ever take Rabbeinu Tam into consideration. He does malacha. Can you rely on your svek sveka? So Moshe writes, no. Then he writes, who's not machmer like Rabbeinu Tam? Everybody's machmer. Everybody's supposed to be machmer like Rabbeinu Tam. He didn't relate to it, But he said, if you don't, then you can't rely on the svek sveka. Now, Rabbi Eider there in Hilchos Nida on page 55, 56, at footnote Yud Zayin, quotes of Aaron Cutler did not like this at all. And he said the second the sun goes down, you cannot make a hefsek Torah. He was totally against it. Also, Rabbi Schechter once told us he thinks this Sakar of Moshe is like very questionable. He didn't like it either. Okay. Just be aware that if you want to know when sunset is, just be aware of two things. There's a margin of error on the calendar. Don't ever try, and I never to go to the last second, because I think there's a margin of error of 2 minutes on the calendar. That's number one. Okay. Then there's also the question of which sunset, right? So in Keren B'Yavneh, it's not so relevant because it's pretty level, right? So you look towards the ocean there in Ashdod, it's level. But this is in a place where there are mountains, correct? You're in the place where there are mountains. So you won't see the sun already much before this. So which ski do you have to go to? This one or that way. So there's those Mikra, I didn't think they follow when, even if you're with the mountains, it means had it been level, when will the sun go down? But I think there's a sheet that you follow where the mountains are. I can make enough community where you are by a couple of minutes. So Mikra didn't think you have to worry about it, but there's some chumrah to worry about that too. Okay, now, you got to this whole thing because there's a steer between two Gemaras, correct? One Gemara says, Rabbi says 3/4 of a meal. And one Gemara says is 4 whole meal. So we had two approaches. We had the Rabbeinu Tam, Shkia 1 and Shkia 2. And then we had the Vilna Gaon. Basically, the whole thing is the first Gemara, 3/4 of a meal. The 4 meal was just when all the stars come out. It's no gay how long you can drag out Shabbos, add on to Shabbos, how long, whatever, all kinds of other reasons. Not really no gay for what we're talking about. Now, I told you originally, there are two main shitos, the Rabbeinu Tam and the Gra. By the way, the Gra is not a single opinion. Look at the Ber Halach and Reish Samach Aleph. He collects a bunch of Rishonim whole like the Gra as well. You have these two main shitas, the Rabbeinu Tam and the Gra, but then there's a third shita, totally different shita. This is quoted again, that big long Ber Halacha and Reish Samach Aleph Sifbei is as follows. He says that Ben Hashmashos is the 3/4 of a meal before the first sunset. The 3/4 of a meal before the first sunset. And Ben Hashmashos starts when the sun starts going to set down, and you'll see that it's about to set. So basically, according to the Uraim, day is over 18, we'll go with the 18-minute meal. So day is over 13 and a half minutes before what we call sunset. And then when the sun goes down, that is synonymous with the stars coming out. Now, if you look in the Mishnah Berurah and Reish Hamachav Sikar Chav Gimel, the Ber Halacha there, they will tell you Mi'ikar Hadin, you don't have to worry about the Uraim, you don't pass on it. But they say that if you're Madlik Neros on time, right? Yerushalayim is 42 minutes, but they even most places where they're like 18 minutes before Shkia. It says you light 18 minutes before Shkia, you Yotze the Uraim as well. Even Yotze with a Rambam's 24-minute meal, 3/4 of 24 is 18 to Yotze, the Uraim. So basically, what they quote over here is as follows. The Ber Halacha writes over here, you shouldn't wait till the last minute. We should light candles when the sun is at the top of the trees. As it says later on, whoever is machmir on himself and stops doing malacha a half hour, or at least 20 minutes before Shkia, Ashrei lo is a lucky person. He's Yotze all the Rishonim, even the Uraim. Now, he has a similar idea here in the Ber Halacha. Just let me see if I can find it here. He writes here as follows. He says, look in the Bach who wrote about this topic in detail, and the opinion you should be nizar lachatchila to follow the rain. And he brings that was the minute of the kilos, of different communities. And then he writes, but the Vilna Gaon was doche the Ureim totally. And look at Seder Azmanim when he explains the Ureim. Nevertheless, he writes, lachatchila, it's certainly good to be choshesh for the opinion of the Ureim, and to start a little bit before Shabbos and light candles in order to be Yotze Yeshita. And as the Bach wrote, that was the minhag of the kilos from way back. Okay, that is about the topic of Bein HaShmoshos. Okay, that was topic of Bein HaShmoshos. Okay, the next topic I wanted to discuss is Amir La'akum. Not telling going to do things on Shabbos. Now, what's the source of this? Why is it awesome? So there is a mechilta. There's a pasuk in Parshas Bo. It's talking about Pesach. Shmos Perek Yud Beis pasuk Zayin. It says, "Kol melacha lo ye oseh b'hem." No melacha shall be done. Nifal on them on the Yom Tov and on Shabbos. The Cholta Dash, since it says that it shouldn't be done, it's even by a good. Now, there are even Rishonim who take this drush as a real drusha, and they hold that a real akum telling a guy to do something on Shabbos is also min Torah. You can find this in the Ureim, in Simon Shendalit, and the Smagen, Lo Sasa Lamed He. However, the halacha, this has not been accepted, and I assume they all assume that this mechilta is just an asmach. It's a hint that Chazal should be metaked, but it's not a din d'oraisa. Now, even according to mechilta, it means a goy. I don't think it means you set a Shabbos clock. It means a human being. If you set a Shabbos clock, so basically you're the one who did it, and you did it before Shabbos. I think in Elway, once discussed, there's this Muke Yosef, the lady lights candles on Friday, even though it burns into Shabbos, but the malach, everything was done on Friday when she lit it. Anyway, so that is one sheet of that. It is based on a this drush, either a real drush or an asmach. That's one. Now the Rambam writes in Hilchos Shabbos in Perek Vav Halacha Aleph. It's an Easter Drabanan. He writes, "Shelo tiyeh Shabbos kalabenim." Shabbos should be something light, not serious. And if they don't take Shabbos seriously, they're going to do it. They end up doing it themselves, right? It's a gzeira, not a malacha drabanan. It's a gzeira, lest you come to do malacha. That is number two, the Rambam. Now, there are two Rashis who say two different things in two different places. Rashi writes in Avodah Zarah on Tesvav Amar Aleph, Dibar Amaskal Kivan, that the Easter is V'daber Dover. You're not allowed to talk about weekday things on Shabbos. That's the problem. Right? V'daber Dover, look at Shabbos Kuf Yud Gimel. V'daber Dover is in Yeshayahu, and Haftarah of Yom Kippur. You shouldn't talk about Divrei Chol on Shabbos. That's the problem of Miralach. That's what Rashi says in Avodah Zarah, Daf Tezvav. Rashi writes in Shabbos, and Daf Kuf Nun Gimel Amar Aleph, no, that when you tell the goy to do it, the goy becomes your shaliach. It's like you did it on Shabbos. Now, even though anybody who learns the second parak of Kedushin knows you can't make a goy a shliach, right? It says gam atem by hafrashas truma, right? Mat, right? Atem and gam atem is a rabbi shliach, and more darkness. Mat atem b'nei bris. You're Jewish. Av shluchachem b'nei bris. You can't make a goy a shliach to do anything. Nevertheless, on a drabanan level, l'chumra, you look at it as if the goy is your shliach and you did it. So the two reasons Rashi has: either it's daber dover, or it's like he's your shliach. Now, why did Rashi write two different things in two different places? So there's a simple answer. When you learn the halachas amir la'akum, you will see you can't tell a goy on Shabbos to do something on Shabbos, and you also can't tell him on Tuesday to do it the next Shabbos, and you can't tell him on Shabbos to do it on the next Tuesday. So if you tell him on Shabbos to go to do something on Tuesday, there's no problem. He's your shaliach, because when he does it on Tuesday, like you did it on Tuesday, who cares? The problem is you talk to him on Shabbos, that is v'daber dor. On the other hand, when you tell him on Thursday to do something on Shabbos. There's no problem with Dabra Dover. You're talking to him on Thursday. The problem is when he does it on Shabbos, it's like you did it on Shabbos. That's the other Rashi. So one Rashi used to cover Shabbos to a weekday, and one Rashi used to cover a weekday to Shabbos. And if you tell him on Shabbos to do it on Shabbos, so you violated both things. Those are the four things. Either a mechilta lo yaseh, or the Rambam, Shabbos shouldn't be lighting your eyes, so you come to do it yourself, or Rashi in one place, Dabra Dover, or Rashi in the other place that the goy becomes your shliach, and it's like you did it on Shabbos. Now, Amir al-Akram is also not only in Doraisis, but even you can't do midrabon, you can't tell a goy to do. Look in Shin Zayin Sifbei. However, the Mishnah Berurah writes in Sifkat and Chester, name of the Magen Avram, something that's only a minhag or a chomer not to do that you can tell a goy to do on Shabbos. Okay, Bli Neder will pick up next week.